Alright, so another special request video is how to do a sort of a montage video, how we can separate portions and bring them up and have them sort of out in different areas. So what I'm going to do first after I've opened up the image is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check my image size first. If it's a really big picture, I'm going to want to make it a little smaller. This is not a huge picture. If it's like 72 by 48, I would go down a little bit smaller just so that you don't have to worry about that. Okay, now we're going to make our canvas bigger, which is the space around our image, so we have room to kind of move things out. I want to make the canvas size, in this case, I'm going to make the canvas color, white. You can see where I clicked right down here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make, instead of a 7 by 10, let me add, I don't know, let's go to 18, and then I'm going to go to 13. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, you can see that if I zoom out, Control minus, that gave me more space, okay? I'm going to start grabbing portions of this image and start manipulating them and moving them around a little bit. So what I can do is I can grab my marquee. Some people may use circles or ellipses. Some people may use rectangles and squares. And what you want to do is you want to grab a portion of that image and you're going to Control J. So I've copied that image. It's on its own layer, and you can see it right there if I turn this eyeball off. And that one right there, what I can do is I can Control T or Edit, Free Transform. That's the keyboard shortcut. And maybe I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, just so it kind of pops forward a little bit. And make that a little bit bigger. And if I zoom in so you can see it better, I can also edit just that portion. I'm going to Image, Adjust my levels. And I might make it a little bit darker. Maybe I want to make that a little bit darker. And then I could go back, Image, Adjust my hue and saturation. Maybe I'm going to increase my saturation of color a little bit more so it really kind of pops out a little bit different. Maybe I'm going to desaturate it and make it more grayscale. So you do want to decide where you're doing what. So I'm going to saturate this one a little bit more. I don't do lightness in here. Any kind of change to those values I will put on the other image adjustment levels and those histograms, okay? The last thing that you need to know about this is how to add a little bit of a drop shadow. If you double click out here in this little gray area, double click not by the word but just over here, you're going to pull up a layer style panel. So you're going to go ahead and this layer style, you can grab it by the top and you can kind of move it. I'm going to put a little bit of a drop shadow so I can have that shadow underneath it. I can also, if I click on the word, it changes this menu. And I can go ahead and I can change the distance and change the opacity and change the size of it so you can really, really see it. Okay? Next piece, I'm going to come in back to my background. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab another piece. Let's say I'm going to grab maybe this tall. Maybe I want to grab that piece. I'm going to Control J that, so that's on its own layer now. Let's say I'm going to leave that the same size, but I want to go ahead and I'm going to totally recolor that piece. I'm going to Image, Adjust my hue saturation. Now again, it doesn't look like I've picked anything, but yes I did. I'm going to colorize, and I am going to move that over. Maybe I want something in the green family, and I really want to bump up those values there. So I've got that piece changed. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to go ahead and add that layer style of that drop shadow. Now the really cool thing is that your effect that happens, the layering will happen according to how you put that on your piece. So if I want this in front, that one's on top. But if I want to put this one more visible, I'm going to drag that one up and above. So again, make sure that you're moving them appropriately. You can also shrink this down if it gets too big. I can press that arrow and all those little effects that you added can kind of go away. Okay? It's really important that you remember to go back to the layer where you're going to get all of your information. So for example here, I'm going to really want to make sure that I'm copying her in that background. If I try to copy from this layer and I press Control J, it's going to tell me you couldn't make a new layer from the selection because it's empty, because there's nothing there. Oh yeah, I've got to go back here. Control J, and I really want her visible, so I'm going to bring her up to the top. You can see it even overlapped already. I am going to image adjust my hue saturation. I'm going to saturate. Give a little bit more color into that one. And I might even brighten it. Image adjust levels. I really want to brighten that one and really kind of set that apart. And the very last step, I'm going to go ahead and put a drop shadow on that. I could even make that a little bit bigger by free transforming it. Again, it doesn't have to be absolutely the same exact size of what it was when I copied it over. Please know that you can easily change that size, like here. Edit, free transform. And again, please, the one thing I will say, please hold that shift key, please. It is so important because we don't want to make them like, strangely shapen like that. We really want it to be nice and proportionate. So I made that one much larger. I pressed the Enter key to commit. And I'm going to go ahead, go to my Move tool, and actually move it up just a little bit. I like it better, maybe right there. So again, you're really kind of playing around with your layers. You're playing around with what is going where, and you're getting some really nice dimension out of your shadows.